Tonight on Prime Business, Ghana Mine Workers Union threatened to lay down its tools if government does not, as a matter of urgency, address insecurities within the sector.
It is not going to be about withdrawal of just one constituency or the other. It is going to be about the withdrawal of services across the mining industry. Choboy! Choboy!
Plus, auditing firm Deloitte urges government to reduce reliance on the international capital market for loans and switch towards concessionary loans to reduce the country's growing debt stock.
With our IMF program, we can use that to go back to our creditors and restructure our debt to a much more favorable term, because now you are under the IMF program. The reason or the argument that you can make is that with an IMF program, you will be more prudent with some expenditure.
Plus, government challenged to work at signing an IMF deal by the first quarter of next year. My name is Beverly Broohm. Please stay for details. Hello and welcome. Let's settle for the details now. The Ghana Mine Workers Union of the Trades Union Congress is threatening to embark on a nationwide sit-down strike if the government does not, as soon as possible, institute measures to protect the lives of its members while on duty. The union made this known at its National Executive Council meeting held at New Ebrim in the Eastern region. The following report has more.
Something goes, something comes.
The Ghana Mine Workers Union has expressed worry over the neglect, inaction and the seeming powerlessness of the state governing structures and regulators in the mining industry. Speaking at the union's National Executive Council meeting, General Secretary Abdul Momin Bana charged government to implement what he describes as complementary security services to protect members.
The complementary security services would give us a higher tier of security support, at least to the security services that are offered by these mining companies, who largely operate unarmed. We expect that our social partners, the Ghana Chamber of Mines, must equally be wary of what is going on. And so we will withdraw our services if we witness any further incidences that threaten the life or the lives of our people. We would. And it is not going to be about withdrawal of just one constituency or the other. It is going to be about the withdrawal of services across the mining industry. Choboy! Choboy!
Meanwhile, National Chairman of the Ghana Mine Workers Union, Mensa Jakari, has expressed displeasure about some chiefs in mining communities acting as recruitment agents to help people get jobs in the industry.
They have made themselves recruitment agents because you have to stamp by his office before you are employed. What is happening that they take people's money who are not from the community, get them employed, then the town people will start revolting, talking, and complaining. Go back and look at the records of all those people that they have employed. Most of them were endorsed by the company. They were endorsed by the company. So if we allow the companies on their own to do the right thing, that one they operate their mining companies. No mining company will take any bribe, will take any money from you as a worker. If you qualify, they will look for the right people to employ.
The Ghana Mine Workers Union National Executive Meeting also afforded the members the opportunity to discuss development within the mining sector in relation to new forms of employment module being forced down the throat of Ghanaian miners. The meeting also deliberated on how to strategically position the investment wings of the GMWU to sustain the business and offer enhanced returns to members.
Now, chairperson for the Apiate Community Support Fund, Dr. Joyce Aye, has been defending what many think is a delay in rebuilding the community several months since its destruction. According to her, the committee is not just building a normal community, but a model one with all necessary amenities. Dr. Aye spoke to Joy Business exclusively after the Ghana Revenue Authority donated 50,000 cedis to support the fund. Here's a report.
The development of the Apiachi community is expected to cost about 70 million cedis, according to preliminary report from the committee set up by government to oversee the entire development. According to the Ghana Revenue Authority, the 50,000 cedis is part of its corporate social responsibility to support the rebuilding, which will also revive economic activities in the area. Dominic Knapp is Assistant Commissioner at the Office of the Commissioner General of the GRA.
Organization charged with the responsibility of collecting revenue. And having also noticed or heard about the disaster that actually hit Apiati. And as part of our corporate social responsibility, we decided to actually contribute some money. Commissioner General decided to just bring some support, 50,000 Ghana cedis, to support assuage the suffering of the people of Apiatu. And as I said, it's part of our corporate social responsibility. And also note that that community is also a community we get taxes from. And now that they are down, we should also be able to help them, be able to come up to continue to engage in their economic activity. That is the essence of our being here.
Reacting to some criticisms that work on the reconstruction of the community has been slow, chairperson of the Apiachi Development Support Fund, Dr. Joyce Aye, hinted that work is progressing steadily to ensure that an ultra-modern estate is built for the people.
They want an enhanced community, not just because it was wattle and daub, you just go in and do that. No. They want to create a modern community with as many facilities as possible. And obviously, perhaps even with an enhanced, how shall I say, social, not only the social amenities, but, people had some kind of trading and so on that they need to do. Yes, yeah. So that's what they want to do. In fact, we have a company called Gensa that has decided to build a market, a very modern market.
Dr. Aye also used the occasion to express gratitude to the GRA for the support and called on other corporate bodies to do same.
Now, energy analyst Abdullahi Darimani is making a case for Ghana and other African countries to make decisions that would ensure maximum benefits from oil and gas resources for their citizens. Now, according to him, the resources in Africa have benefited countries outside the continent due to the weak systems developed in governing the extractive sector. He spoke to Joy Business after addressing this year's Oil Watch Conference and annual general meeting in Accra under the theme, Gassing the Continent.
Ghana is hosting the Oil Watch Africa Conference and annual general meeting, which is focusing on the global effort to switch from the use of fossil fuels for cleaner energy. Guest speaker for the conference, energy analyst Abdullahi Darimani, said African countries are losing out on benefits as other countries are exploiting the continent's extractive sector.
South Korea, for instance, if you come there as a foreign investor, you must come with citizens or indigenous who will be party to that investment. And they structured the investment in such a way that at a point in time, the local entrepreneurs will be majority shareholders. We don't have that here in Ghana. One is not, we've come to a point where we are in a global village, but it doesn't mean as a global village we should give away everything that we have.
You think the Europeans or the Western world is benefiting from our natural resources more than we, the locals?
I'm not thinking that is the reality. Go and take any policy or law for our extractive, and you see the fiscal regime that has been defined.
Council member of the Oil Watch Africa team, Nimobase, fears the continent could be a dumping ground if measures are not taken to regulate the energy transition policy.
The rate at which natural gas or fossil gas is being exploited on the continent and the spate of investment coming into the continent for this purpose of extracting this gas for export elsewhere clearly shows that Africans, especially those living in the communities where these resources are being extracted, are going to suffer more than they suffered before. Because now in the dying days of fossil energy, fossil fuels, in a time where oil companies are beginning to stop investing in that sector, this is now the scraping of the bottom of the pot. The investors are looking for the quickest way to get returns on their investment. And so they're going to trash the environment, trash human rights, and gas the continent. In other words, kill our people. That's the simplest way to put it.
The conference provides a convergence for members of Oil Watch Africa to define purpose and action on fossil energy civilization for Africa.
Now, auditing and accounting firm Deloitte Ghana is advising the government to reduce its reliance on the international capital market and switch towards concessionary loans to reduce the country's exposure to the growing debt stock. Now, data from the Bank of Ghana puts the country's total debt stock at 393.4 billion cedis in June 2022. The following report takes a look at proposals made by Deloitte Ghana after assessing the 2022 mid-year budget.
According to the report, even though government was able to maintain all expenditure items within the budget, government, however, paid high interest rates on Ghana's loans due to the depreciation of the cedi against major trading currencies, as well as higher cost of borrowing in the domestic market. The report recommended that government should consider reducing its reliance on the international capital markets and switch more towards concessionary loans in order to contain the rising interest expense. Additionally, the auditing firm proposed that funds borrowed from the international markets should be invested more in capital projects with the ability to boost foreign exchange earnings and increase foreign exchange reserves. This, Deloitte says, will help absorb some of the foreign exchange shocks, accounting for the increase in interest expense. The report also pointed out that the need for fiscal consolidation, coupled with prudent spending, is key to restoring macroeconomic stability and growth prospects in the medium to long term. Hence, government must direct its expenditure to sectors of the economy that will help create jobs.
Meanwhile, partner at Deloitte Ghana, Yao Latte, stresses that as the government prepares to sign on to a program with the International Monetary Fund, the finance minister should take advantage of the deal to discuss debt restructuring with the country's creditors.
I think our report came just in time, particularly when the country has been downgraded by S&P to CC, triple C. That's because, as noted by the rating agency, we have limited access to the international market, and maybe we don't even have access to the international market in the short to medium term. And the reason being that historically, over the last few years, we have always relied on the international market to support our budget expenditure. And now that we don't even have access to the international market, the rating agencies think that we are going to struggle to meet some of our targets. So as a firm, what we are suggesting to government is that, look, we are in the situation that we find ourselves in because we have relied on external borrowing. And the effects of the external borrowing are two. One, you have exposure to exchange rates because they are denominated in USD. And two, you would have to pay high interest rates on these international borrowings.
Now, Ghana could secure a program from the International Monetary Fund in the second quarter of next year. The program, which will be spread within 3 years, could come with a total finance package of almost $10 billion from the IMF and other sources. That's the latest assessment by the fund based on preliminary data on the economy. Here's Georgia Fair's report.
Joy Business is, however, learning that this would be subject to the executive board of the IMF approving some of these proposals. Again, the economic data gathering is still ongoing. Therefore, things could change in the last minute in terms of the proposed schedule for the program to take off. However, about the number of years needed for the necessary economic correction, that wouldn't go beyond 3 years. On funding that will be allocated to Ghana's program, the country could get at least $3 billion exclusively from the IMF for balance of payment support. The World Bank could also be bringing some funding assistance on board to support projects identified in the budget that could come in the region of $3 to $4 billion. We should also not forget about the other donor partners that will come on board because Ghana has secured a program with the IMF, as well as the other financial assistance that will come from the open financial markets and investors. Now that could be more than $10 billion. But this wouldn't be a one-time disbursement, but rather spread over 3 to 4 years. In a related development, the IMF technical team is expected in town in the coming weeks to carry out some assessment in the areas of revenue mobilization and taxes. We are also learning that the government is yet to officially table its enhanced domestic program that should guide ongoing negotiations for a program with the IMF.
Now, speaking on the issue, Professor Williams Pipra with Andrews University in the U.S. cautioned that securing an IMF program in the second quarter of 2023 could be late. Hence, the government must work at signing the deal by the first quarter of next year.
I think that second quarter of next year probably will be a little bit too late for Ghana because if you look at the data that was issued out by Bank of Ghana, already our balance of payment is in a negative of about $2.4 billion, which is about 3.5% of our GDP. Our revenue generation internally is not picking up as expected because the e-levy has failed. So if the fund delays, the impact will be very dire for us as a country.
Away from the IMF, Second Lady Samira Baumia says the potential of the fashion, textile, garment and beauty sectors present the opportunity to groom young girls with skills that will set them up for an improved standard of living. She's therefore calling on institutions, including those in the private sector, to support the development of underprivileged girls. She was speaking at the graduation ceremony of 654 girls trained in fashion skills by Invest for Jobs and partners of N4G project. There's more in the following report.
The Second Lady of the Republic of Ghana said the country's textile industry provides huge potential for more value addition and employment opportunities for young women. She therefore called on all to support the economic empowerment of women in this sector.
Fashion is one of the world's most important industries, driving a significant part of the global economy. It's one of the key value-creating industries in the world economy. According to McKinsey, the global fashion industry, if ranked alongside individual countries' GDP, would represent the 7th largest economy in the world. And the revenue from global fashion industry is estimated at $2.5 trillion. So for developing economies, the industry has enormous potential to create jobs and provide incomes, especially for women and youth, while contributing to sustained economic development in the long term.
The team leader of the Invest for Jobs, John Duty, in this welcome address hinted that the overall project objective is to improve the livelihoods of over 2,000 underprivileged females through fashion-related vocational training and enterprise development.
Ours are doing all that they can to provide decent jobs for the teeming youth, and I think it is work in progress. Some youth, especially young women, have resorted to all forms of dehumanizing and illegal activities just to survive. In these circumstances, young girls and women are those mostly exposed, rendering them very vulnerable. This compels us to think and adopt pragmatic measures to ensure that our youth, particularly girls and women, find decent jobs.
Under the Invest for Jobs brand, the German Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development has put together a package of measures to support German, European and African companies' investment activities that have a high impact on employment in Africa.
The Minister for Communication and Digitalization, Esla Owusu-Ekufo, has reiterated the call for girls and women to be prioritized in the digitization agenda of the country. Speaking on the sidelines of the 7th Ghana Women of the Year honors, Madame Owusu-Ekufo promised to do everything in her capacity to ensure Ghanaian females are accommodated in the digital space.
At the 7th Ghana Women of the Year honors, the Minister of Communications and Digitalization, Esla Owusu-Ekufo, was awarded Excellence in Governance Award. Upon receiving the recognition, she dedicated it to the next generation of digital specialists whom she believes will take over the world.
Gradually, we're raising a core of dedicated young people, women and girls, who embrace technology and love it and want to make a career in it. And in the future, they are the ones who are going to be managing all these installations that we're putting in place. So it's exciting to be part of this drive to build the capacity of all our young girls, particularly, to be able to engage in this digital world that we find ourselves in. And we'll do whatever we can to create more room and space for them to also thrive.
The Ghana Women of the Year honors was organized by Glitz Africa. Chief Executive Claudia Lumo explained the rationale behind the award scheme.
We set up this award really to celebrate Ghanaian women and to use the platform to inspire other young women. And we've done that this year, 7 years, and to see the platform getting stronger through also our She Summit and Leadership Breakfast Meeting, all of them coming together to strengthen women and encourage women and inspire women in the country has been amazing.
13 women in diverse sectors were honored at the event.
The Minister for Works and Housing, Francis Asenso-Boakye, has reiterated that the construction and property industry has witnessed a steady growth in the country in recent times due to the involvement of private sector participation. He was speaking at the launch of the Edumwa Place. Speaking at the launch of the Edumwa Place, the first commercial building in Apollonia City, Mr. Asenso said in spite of government's effort to develop the property industry, there's still a gap that needs to be addressed, and government is committed to bridging that gap.
The launch of this project is a confirmation that the desired environment has been created by government to attract private sector investment in the housing sector. It is gratifying to note that the construction and property industry has witnessed a steady growth in recent times and has been largely due to the involvement of the private sector. Although there has been a tremendous improvement by government in the provision of infrastructure across the country, there is still gaps that need to be addressed. Government is not oblivious of the importance of investing in the industry, as it holds the key to the sustainable development of our country.
The Chief Executive Officer for Rendezvous, Stephen Jennings, declared his outfit's readiness to invest in the country and therefore wants government to create an enabling environment for business opportunities.
For a 15-year period through to around 2012, Sub-Saharan Africa, including Ghana, was amongst the fastest reforming regions and the fastest growing regions in the world. Then the reforms stopped and the growth slowed to a crawl. After all, why make tough decisions when the world is throwing virtually free money at you? Well, those days are well and truly over. Ghana, as much of the rest of the region, has no choice but to implement tough fiscal adjustments. But as they say, necessity is the mother of invention. As a long-term investor, these are exactly the conditions in which Endeavour likes to invest. We will invest more and we will invest for the long term.
Chief Executive Officer of Apollonia City, Bright Owusu Amufa, emphasized how the facility will aid business activities in the enclave.
We're very excited about the fact that the Edumwa place is named in honor of Nita Edumwa II. But he's certainly a visionary leader, and what we've been able to achieve here and name this building after him is an example that I think we should all try to emulate.
And that's how we end business here on the Joy News Prime. We have more business when you log on to myjoyonline.com. My name is Beverly Broohm. Have a good evening.